Every man, woman, and child deserves to be seen as equal under the law.
Americans hold equality to be a fundamental principle of our country. Many women in our country have fought in feminist movements to bring forward the rights and privileges all American women get to share today. The word feminism today triggers many partisan emotions, some indignant, others empowered. Feminism is not calling for the fall of man, nor for the ultimate reign of women. In reality, feminism is a movement for progressive equality in regard to gender rights.
The Declaration of Independence says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Our country was founded on the ideals of equality, but these ideals were not extended to women for a long time. Men held all the government power and voting rights despite this belief of equality.
This may seem hypocritical, but in reality, the progress toward equality has just been slow. The Seneca Falls Women's Rights Convention in 1848 is seen as the beginning of the suffrage movement. But women were not given the right to vote until 1920, when the 19th Amendment was passed. Despite this, we are making faster progress towards equality than in many other countries. Until recently, women in Saudi Arabia could not legally drive, but women in America have been able to drive for decades. In Iran, women don't have freedom to travel abroad like American women, because her husband's permission is required to obtain a passport.
If I ask you the question, who counted among we the people when our Constitution was new? Well, not very many people.
Well, I think you've definitely seen our American identity change from the time that we were a new nation to the present. And I think one of the major ways you've seen that is through the role that women have had and female empowerment that you've seen in our country. You can clearly look at the fact that when our country began, rights that women had were not nearly what they are today, whether it's with the most profound things like voting or women being allowed to have more roles and responsibilities in the workplace or in society. I think as those things have come about, then you've seen our identity as a nation change from one that's being, primarily male-centered to one that is more inclusive of men and women, and I think for the better. I think the fact that women can have such significant impact here in our country, that the voices that women have gained through the feminist movement and the influence that they've had is something very unique to what you can see in other countries. You can look at other countries around the world that may have feminist movements that certainly aren't as advanced, or women who don't have the same rights that women in our nation have. So I think just the fact that their voices are so strong and can be heard to such a strong degree, and that is, again, something that's totally different from, say, even 30, 40 years ago, to see how much of a change has been brought about by that.
I want to remind you that it was woman that gave you Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was woman that gave you Malcolm X. And according to the Bible, it was a woman that gave you Jesus.
First of all, I think our identity as Americans is unlike that in other countries. You get your citizenship by the law of the soil, the law of the blood. Blood and soil,
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how you get your American identity. You get your identity from our creed, from your belief that we together believe these things, that all men are created equal. Now, therein lies your first rub. We interpret men to mean mankind. But the truth is, that just wasn't so originally. America has always been defined by the tension between our ideals and our reality. We always fall short, but we always try to do better. So what you're asking me about is what it means to be an American. And the first thing I would say is it means to fall short of our ideals, because we always do. But it also means to continue to strive to offer those things, because what makes us American is that we truly believe that all mankind is created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those rights are the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I would say that the assumptions, the underlying assumptions about the possibilities that are open to women have changed drastically in my lifetime. And I look back and I think earlier generations, it was the Rosie the Riveters who stepped up out of need, who didn't want to go back, that opened the way for those changes. So I'm grateful to those women. This is something really serious to me.